welcome back. Today, I am talking with Maggie Dobosz. Maggie has been certified in executive coaching by the Institute of Leadership and Management in 2013. She also holds a Bachelor of Science in Psychology and an MBA degree from the University of Sunderland in London. Maggie has worked with a variety of people. She has worked with ambitious teenagers, preparing for their future careers, passionate entrepreneurs starting their business, senior managers on the verge of burnout, growth-oriented executive coaches, hardworking C-level leaders, and eccentric millionaires. And currently, Maggie creates educational content for coaches and coaching clients under a golf-inspired name, the Coaching Caddy. So I am so thrilled that she is here with me today, and I am so excited to talk with her. Hi, Maggie.
Hi, Alice. It's so good to be here. Thank you for invitation.
Absolutely. So Maggie, you have worked with a lot of people. I mean, you've coached them. So I imagine you have a lot of experience helping people find their joy.
Definitely. I think everything what people do, it must be the underlying current. Otherwise, it might be not worth pursuing, because it must be like some sort of satisfaction at the end, joy, happiness, something rewarding for them. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So how, for you personally, though, how do you define joy? Do you feel like it's a thought, a feeling, an action, or all three, something else?
I think it's a state. I think joy is a state, but this state does not have to be dependent on the external events. Mm-hmm. So it might be internally induced, or you can take inspiration from the event or circumstances or people that you happen to be interacting in that moment with, right?
Yes, yes, very well said, very well said. So,
Pass the exam. Next question.
That's right. What brings you the most joy? When do you feel the most joy?
The most joy I experience when I create. And there are two types of creative outlet. Mm-hmm. So one type of creative outlet is when I make the most of my skills, strengths, for me, like drawing and using it might be even, I was drawing even today, like mm-hmm. I don't do it very often because I would have other ways of expressing myself. But drawing brings me joy, definitely, especially if I can give that drawing to someone. So mm-hmm. Giving brings me joy. Mm-hmm. Creating unique things. So when I was a kid, I was like shaping something, maybe modeling in my hands, mm-hmm. or drawing, creating, and then giving to my family members, right?
Yeah.
But there's another part of what brings me joy, and this is from the activity that is coaching itself, when I'm serving as a tool for the person, mm-hmm. and they remind who they are, the endowment. It's using the coaching space, yeah. with my skills. So I'm only like a tool, the instrument in that interaction, mm-hmm. and they make the most of the space of these questions, and this brings me joy. Mm-hmm. And I think it's somehow related to what I said first about the act of giving, when you create something unique and you give it to the person that you value in your life.
Yes.
I think it's something related to that in coaching as well, because I care about them and I want them to gain value out of that. So yes. Giving them the space, giving mm-hmm. them my focus, energy, mm-hmm. I feel like this gives me joy because I'm doing something with my strengths. Yes. So making the most of what's the best in me gives me joy.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, and it sounds like it's a give and take. I mean, you're giving something, they're receiving it, you're getting some feedback. So it's kind of like not just joy is not just something for you alone. It's when you share it and circle.
Yeah, you create together. So like co-creating really.
Yes.
I think when I give, when I help, it comes back in a different way, because it comes back as the inspiration as well. And I recognize, you said feedback.
Yes.
I think it is a feedback, because when I give something and the person finds that of value, I know like, I understood what they're after. I'm on the right track. So yes. It gives me satisfaction, because I know that I can do this, and I deliver what they are after, right? So it's like, yeah,
Yes.
I'm doing the right thing. Well, good job, Maggie. That kind of stuff. That brings me joy.
Yeah, so I mean, but there's times when it is more of a solo thing. Like you said, you're creating something. And then
Yes.
there's times when it's you and someone else. So it's a container maybe that you have with someone else in there. And then,
Yes, but also if I would be on my own, what brings me immense joy is when I dance on my own, in my example. So
yeah.
my shutters are closed, so nobody can watch me from the outside. I can even if I don't want to bother my neighbors, I would be like wearing headphones.
Yes.
I'll be dancing. I would be stretching. I would be doing very funny movements.
Yes. Yes.
And enjoy it. And I would be jumping a bit, you know.
Yes.
And this, it's really funny because it's not only that I do that and then I feel joy. I need to feel like I want to do it. So it works both ways. Yes. Sometimes I'm in a joyful mood and I feel like dancing. And if I'm not in that mood, if I'm not in that state, I know that by dancing, I will put myself in this state. So
yes. I think that's a great point, because it's like what you're saying there, it sounds to me like joy is not just always up here. I mean, you bring it down into the body. I mean, you said you move, you dance. I mean, it's using the whole body to get into it. And that really brings in the joy. That's awesome. Yes. I love that. Good point. Yes. It's a whole body experience, not necessarily just a mental experience. Yes. I love that. Cool. Okay. So how about a time, maybe a story that you have to share about a time with your family when you were on vacation or maybe in your business where you just had a fun time?
Just fun time, the joy?
Yeah, just a joyful fun time.
It's really funny. You know, the good thing is that when you were inviting people for the interview and the questions were like there to ponder, I scanned through them, but I didn't prepare like the story. Oh, this is what I want, share. It's not, I didn't have that. So because I want to create in the moment with you. And I thought that's so much more than me being prepared and hey, here's the story. I memorized every fact. So what happened just now, I came back from shopping and I bought shoes, the trekking shoes. Wait.
Okay.
So these shoes.
Yes, love it.
And the reason why I bring them here, it's basically the illustrations of what brings me joy. I'm going to be hiking with my boyfriend in nature. And this is what brings me immense joy, being in nature and making the most of the beauty that surrounds us.
Yes.
Regardless the weather, the connection with what's natural, the open sky, the leaves that I can hear, you know, the sound of trees when they move, how the whisper of trees, it's so soothing. So this definitely brings me joy. Another thing, I played golf yesterday. Golf, one of these things that brings me immense joy. And this joy, it's not that kind of joy that you're jumping around. It's the joy that calms you down. It's the joy. It's like inner peace. It's almost like being content. I would call it a silent joy because it doesn't have to be expressed in any more high energy way, like laughter or jumping or dancing or movement. You know, it doesn't have to be this way. Joy for me can be inner peace and calmness. So go nature, beauty. You know, I live in the UK, so when I play golf, I can see bunnies.
Nice.
Rabbits, right? And I can see deer and geese and Canadian geese and things like that. So for me, it's like, wow, it's in the zoo, you know?
Yes. Oh, that's such a good point. Nature is so good for that. I just love being out in nature.
So what also from the story that bring me joy, I think getting closer to the things that bring me joy. So striving towards putting myself in circumstances, situations, with people, without people, that brings me joy. So for example, buying these shoes, it's already progress towards enjoying myself once I'm in the mountains.
Yes. Yes.
And so everything that helps me to make joyful experience reality, everything that helps me to get closer to that brings me joy. So for example, if I would be thinking, I'd like to have a lovely evening with my boyfriend, right? It brings me joy to look after myself and use some nice creams in the evening and make sure that my skin is nicely nourished and it's nice and soft, things like that. For myself, so every effort, every action I take in the direction of something I'm waiting for, I cherish, is joyful. This already brings me joy because it makes me feel like I'm almost already there, and I live that state. Before I live that state, I live that, right? So I think this is how I can move back to the history of some joyful event by bringing it to the moment, or I think about the future event and bring it to now.
Yes.
That's a really cool thing about how memory works and how much we can put ourselves in the state of the memory or the anticipation for the future, right?
Yes, I think, and that's a great point. I mean, I think you made a great point where you were saying it's not just, I mean, the event that we're going to do, of course, we're having fun, we enjoy it, but there's a whole lot of more moments either leading up to it that we can still have fun while we're thinking about it. And you're actually putting it out there and setting it up, kind of the energy of it. You're putting that energy out. So it really is going to be a fun event. All of that kind of pre-planning, I guess. It's not even planning, it's just pre-experiencing maybe of all the fun stuff you're going to have. There's lots of joy in that as well. So that's a great point.
Have you heard about actually ways to regain energy or resources by visualizing the moments of taking the time off or joyful moments?
Yes.
So actually people who wouldn't be experiencing joy that often, what they can do, they can, even in a more stressful situation at work or outside of work, they can put themselves in that memory or even thinking about, in my case, I can think about playing golf. I can think about dancing in my living room.
Yes.
I can think about connection with nature and watching bunnies jumping around.
Yes.
I can think about walking mountains. I can think about the beautiful views I've seen from my hiking trips.
Yes.
And just because I think about those things, they already affect me.
Yes.
And this is beautiful. This is beautiful.
Yes.
One of the most pleasant and easiest, one of the easiest ways to bring joy in any moment.
Yes.
Standing in the queue in the shop, putting fuel into your car, that's kind of moments you can bring joy anytime.
Yes, absolutely. And, there's that whole thing that neuroscience has found, that the brain doesn't know what's actually happening versus your imagination. So the experience can be the same, and you can still get the same kind of endorphins going, and just by even visualizing, like you're saying, visualizing it. So that's such an excellent point. I mean, you can still get a lot of joy from visualizing versus actually living. Yeah.
What you've just said about the brain doesn't feel the difference, right? I think it's there is a difference in the amount of stimuli that you get. So for example, if you're living the moment and your brain is overflown with stimuli, so you have the sounds, you have the feelings from the inside, your mind, the chemicals in your brain, right? You have the visual, very vivid. You have touch, palpable, proof. So basically all the sensations for your body. If we would be able to use our brains when we imagine the joyful situation with all the modalities, so listening and visualizing and touching, then we do have that ability to create in our minds experience that it's just happening in our mind, but we feel like it's happening right now. Like, can you hear this glasses of champagne? Can you hear people having nice conversation around you? Can you feel the sunshine on your skin? Can you hear me? And by asking these questions, I think we can come up with very vivid, real experience in our head that can put us in joyful and more relaxed and content states. Yes, yes, I agree with what you said.
Yes.
Taking into consideration to make it as rich as the normal experience would be. All the modalities involved. Yeah.
Yes, 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 exactly. So we can have as many moments as we want, even if we can't actually maybe physically go there, or we're not able to, we can still have lots of moments.
Yes.
That's great. I love resources that are free and easy. That's a free and easy one.
Oh, this is, yeah, but you creating resources by yourself, you being resourceful and then creating the, yes, absolutely. It's my way to put myself in a state, you know, you don't do anything physically, but your mind is working on the vision, you create vision, and then you being embraced by that vision and inspired by the vision to feel how you want to feel in that vision. So that's fascinating.
Yes, that's excellent. Oh, beautiful. I love that. Good, good. Wow, that's awesome. So, okay, how about a time that in your life where it brought you so much pleasure, you wish you could repeat it?
But there's so many moments that
excellent.
Like, but this is so common, like common. Don't you think that every time you have so much joy and pleasure and it's so beautiful that you automatically want to do it again? Like, can you tell me about the experience that was amazing and beautiful and joyful and you don't want to do it again? Can you tell me? Like, it was wonderful, it was beautiful, it was so much joy. I don't want to do it again. Like, I can't think about anything like this.
Oh, so, yeah, no, not that you don't want to do it again, but something that just stands out, maybe something that was so fun that you really do want to do it again. It just brought you so much pleasure. It's like, wow, that was really good.
I think there's a bit of adrenaline that now comes up to my memory, right? So I'd like the experiences when I'm, for example, I'm in a line park. I don't know how would we call it, like obstacles park. You are 5 meters above the ground or 7 meters above the ground, and you have some zip lines and you're moving between tree to tree.
Yes.
You have some obstacles to climb, and it's sometimes you're even upside down. You're trying to find a way out, like things like this, right?
Right.
So a bit of adrenaline that it's brought by the experience. I think this is something. It's funny because it makes me think about the addictive aspect of joy, right?
Yes, yes.
It's a very different joy that I enjoy when I'm walking down the beach, hands with the person I love, and it's a very different joy, that almost like exhilaration that I feel in the moment of being in the air, jumping on trampoline. I haven't done bungee jumping, or I didn't jump with a parachute, or didn't do like diving underwater, things like that. But for me, cycling, I know that for some people, motorcycling brings that, and a bit of speeding as well, I can imagine. But for me, for me, I do like cycling and cycling fast. So it's I call it Zen. And it's a joy with a bit of adrenaline. But I would like to do again the things that are related to activity, to sport, give me joy. Yes. And I think it's also because, not only because the adrenaline comes in, but also because I know that's a very, very healthy practice. It's like life practice. I love playing golf because golf is the sport that it's sustainable. I can have it throughout the life. And if I can enjoy it with people I love, people I like, if this is in business or outside business, my private life, my family life, I think this is beautiful. This is something that I want to enjoy, and with no end to it. The same as far as I can, like as long as I can. So cycling, yes. I enjoy swimming, but I don't do it that often. Cycling, yes. Walking, yes. Beautiful places, yes. Playing golf, yes. Having a relationship with someone that is a wonderful person in my life, I think that's a continuous source of joy.
Yes.
that we can have that kind of conversations or interactions that I have in my relationship. This gives me joy. And yeah, so these are all things that I would love to carry on repeating and doing, and it's part of looking after those things. So for example, if I would stop playing golf, I wouldn't be good at it. So I wouldn't have so much joy out of that, and people who will be with me might not have as much joy watching me sending 10 balls in the air, you know. So I think if you want to be good, if you want to be good in something, then practice, and doing it on and on and on and on just helps you. So hiking makes me more resilient, and dancing makes me more coordinated, and golf makes me more skilled at golf, and having conversations, beautiful time with my partner makes us stronger as a relationship. Right. So these are the things that I would be repeating because they give extra value. It's not just for the sake of joy. It's also for making the practice, the activity stronger, make it sustainable, looking after it. Yeah.
No, that's great. That's great, because like you're saying, as you do these activities and you get better at them, you enjoy them more. So it's like you're cycling and you're golfing and things that you practice and you get better. It's like, then it's even more fun. And your relationship, as you put more and more into that, it gets better and better. So it gives you even more pleasure. Just like this wonderful cycle again.
So I think this is investing. I think you're investing. You know, you put your energy, you put your drive, you put your focus, you put your emotions, you identify yourself as a golfer or as a cyclist or as a wife or girlfriend, right? So it becomes somehow part of your identity. So you invest in it and it somehow builds you. I think that's another factor that I really love connecting with joy. It's like realizing that those things that I do on a regular basis are characteristic to me. This is how I dance. This is this is my hobby. Golf is my hobby, and cycling and roller skating, all done in my room, you know. And I think it makes me feel even more joyful that I'm getting to know myself and I'm investing in myself as well. So I think it goes together again. It's the element of joy goes together with investing in myself, progress, growth, something I put my resources in, and then I see it becoming better over time.
Oh, that's a great analogy. And as you were speaking that, I love that analogy of investing. And it also made me think of like planting seeds, because you're planting seeds and then you water them and you nourish them and they just get more, grow and they give you more and more pleasure. Just kind of activity.
You just think, but I think it's even whole garden. It's not even, I think we start from the seed, right? We start from the seed. We have these individual plants. But I think we arrive, at least over time, as we look after the source of joy and activities that bring us joy. It's seed by seed, and start with the intention of finding the source of joy, however small it may be. Maybe it is brushing teeth with my left hand, and at the end of brushing teeth, I'm gonna do woohoo, you know, and this might bring me joy. So these little seeds of weird behaviors when nobody's watching me, weird behaviors and funny noises, right? So I think later on we arrive to a garden. We arrive to the space where my relationship is part of this garden, and my hobby is part of this garden. And I look after my physical health and my looks to be healthy. My nutrition is my activity. It's the way I teach myself, remind myself about resting and proper sleep. And so all these caring routines is part of that garden. And also part of the garden, my other relationships with my family, with my friends, with my best friends. Making sure that I'm looking after them. They feel like they have a great friend in their life. So feel supported. It's all part of the same garden.
No, it's amazing. It's beautiful.
So I would be asking people questions in this metaphor. if they would pick up the metaphor, because not everyone is very comfortable with metaphors, but for some
Right.
people it might be easier to just visualize that
Yeah.
you grow your garden and you find individual source of happiness or joy. You find them clustered together.
Yes.
And taking space in the garden, a beautiful space. You design your landscape, your garden, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
I think for some people it might be easier to connect with the metaphor than without. Yeah, so I would ask them then, how big is your garden? Like, how big do you want your garden to be? Or I will ask them, how big is it right now and how is it going?
Right.
You can see the is it progressing? The plant, is it blooming? What season it is? I would be definitely going deeper into finding the seasons to understand the person where they are. Yeah. Because the reason why I went into coaching is because of the understanding for another person's life, internal life. So yes. I think the joy, the garden of joy, I think might be a very useful metaphor to work with people and help them to identify which part of the garden they would like to grow.
Yes.
And what is the state of the flowers, the plants over there right now. And it might be easier for them to express in this way the subconscious things, because they might not even think about the specific situations, but they can tell me, oh, my flowers are actually just raising, you know, they're not ready to bloom, but they just so it's you can track the progress. It's amazing, because when you want to make sure that they know, they feel the progress, and that visualization of garden of joy also helps people to see how big journey or how far they already gone in the journey of finding or building, creating joy. This might be a very useful tool. Thank you for inspiration. I'm going to ask my people about their garden of joy.
Well, and also because using the things you were speaking about of all these different aspects, because you have a lot of different things you mentioned when we were talking about what brings you joy, and activities and pleasurable things and times you want to repeat. You mentioned so many things. I mean, those are all in your garden, so to speak. You know, those are all making up your garden. You have a very full garden, which is awesome. And I think that makes for a very joyful garden to have lots of things in it. You know, like a real garden has lots of flowers and colors and different aspects and all the varieties. So I think that's awesome.
Seasons. I think seasons is also interesting aspect.
Yeah.
There will be seasons, and there will be winter, and there will be autumn. And I think that's perfectly natural. It doesn't mean that my garden stops existing.
Right.
It's the season to rest and to mellow and to come down, and my garden is still there. That's where the plants need to recuperate. They need to recover from certain seasonal changes, which are perfectly natural.
Yep. It's part of the cycle.
Yeah,
that's beautiful. Oh, I love that, Maggie. That's awesome.
I think the conversation brings fantastic discoveries. Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, it does. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. So, okay. So we've talked about a lot of things that bring you joy. How about a time maybe when you were feeling down and something lifted you up, like a change of mindset, maybe a thought, an event, or something that brought you back from maybe not joy to back into your joy or a better state?
Hope. This is the first thing that kind of came to my mind. So the situation that I was down, for example, but when you mean, do you mean like whole season? Like it's a time that it's longer than a day, 2 days? Or is it something that during the day, it's one event, that one moment for an hour, 2 hours? Like, which
either
one?
Way. Yeah, either way, whatever comes to your mind.
So I can bring the event as, for example, changing the company I was working with, right? So this might be an event that would affect me. If parting wasn't part of my intention, then definitely I would have moments when I would be doubting myself or doubting even my value and have a dip of believing in myself. And then what happens is, I know that on the intellectual level, like I recognize that it's obvious is that whatever happens for a reason. I know that at the intellectual level, but my emotional level works in a different way. So you can give me the intellectual wisdom or instruction and say, yeah, you will recognize this is actually bringing even more value into your life just because the company you worked for is not any longer your company. There's another company that you are not working for yet, but it is out of that. So you can agree with that. But at emotional level, it's working in a different way, as if I have to go through stages and being like, I think it's very characteristic for recovery. Like, first you are angry, in denial, then you're sad, then you're feeling hurt, then you feel guilty, then you say, and you have to like change the states. And how fast can you go through the stages? You can go through the stages within one day. Yes, you can. Yes. You can. So what brings me back from the challenges, it might be end of the relationship that I didn't anticipate, end of the coaching assignment that I didn't anticipate, end of the job I had to support my coaching practice, because I have 5 years of experience from the past, and I wasn't full-time straight away. I had to make a living as well. So having jobs on the side when I was coaching, that was a pretty normal thing because you were growing your practice.
Right.
So working for different companies and then changing jobs, again, these are the moments when I would struggle in that moment. And what brings me back to the natural equanimity, it's basically the place when you can see the ocean and you can see a floating wood, let's say a beautiful branch of the tree.
Yes.
Then this tree is floating, and that's the most natural state for it. It wouldn't sink. It basically it is there. It will be floating until it hits the shore.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm talking about metaphorical tree, because you can have a tree that takes water in and sinks, right? Let's make it a cork tree, okay? It's a cork tree. It's not gonna sink. So this metaphor, and this is how I go back to my nature, right? So like recognizing that, oh, come on, I'm a cork tree bark. There's no way I'm gonna stay at this depth, So it's hope was the first word that came to me when you asked this question.
Okay.
And hope for recovery, for fast recovery, hope for finding joy again, hope. So just hope is what starts the process. And then what I'm doing, I'm taking myself through all the stages. I don't skip I don't skip stages. I don't skip the stage, oh, I'm not going to be sad about this loss. It's good that we broken up, No. I mean, being sad, it's normal. Being angry. So being angry, be angry, let it be angry. Then you realize that it doesn't hold you back.
Right.
You naturally transition to sad. And don't hold back. Don't try to suppress sadness. It's okay to be sad. And when you allow yourself to be sad, then hey, it's okay. It's okay to feel hurt and guilt and blame yourself. And it's okay. It's a stage. Okay. It is a stage. You are on the way up. Like, it's okay. Let yourself to feel bad about those things. It's okay to feel bad, but don't stay there. Don't hold on to it. Don't go in circles and beat up yourself for stuff. It's okay. Oh, I feel guilty, but at the same time, there's forgiveness that comes in. Forgiveness that comes in, and understanding and self-care, and then you start feeling more neutral. And then this hope that naturally is almost like property of the cork tree. The hope is the property of that cork tree. And I'm not the only cork tree in the human experience for everyone. Everybody is their own cork tree.
Yeah.
And the natural state for us is to float.
Mm-hmm.
So you are underwater and
Yes.
you are deep down under the surface. It's because you hold yourself down. That's why
Yes.
you are there. Because the moment you let go of that, the moment you stop reminiscing, spinning at certain level, either spinning in the places of anger or
Yeah.
spinning in the places of sadness, spinning in the places of guilt and hurt and stuff, spinning in the places of not forgiving myself for whatever. I think this is basically what holds us. But when we allow us to feel this way only for the time that it's needed for us to recover,
Yes.
then it's like natural season. And it's season of winter, season of spring will come, because that's the natural season.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that.
So I think I like blending metaphors, and you can talk to people and they will tell you, oh, I only have 2 seasons, wet and dry, Play with these things. For me, it works to say I have winter as well as I have, proper seasons, and I can have proper seasons in one day.
Yes.
I can have proper seasons about one thing. It might be my relationship, or it might be my career development, or it might be my health and my nutrition. I might be recognizing that in that aspect of life, I might be spring, right? Or I might be summer, or I might be winter. So it's helpful to look at different spikes of, do we say spikes of life, spokes of life, like parts of life, different directions that life goes to make it holistic, right?
Yes. Yes.
Then what season are you? Like, how big is your garden of joy? What season are you? Are you a cork tree? What kind of depth are you holding yourself at?
No, I love that. I love what you're saying, because it really speaks to the point that we are supposed to be happy. I mean, we're not supposed to be sad all the time, but being honest about where we are. So it's not to say that you don't recognize it when you do have the emotions. You honor it, you recognize it, but you don't have to stay there. Like you said, you don't have to get spinning in it. You can move out of it, and you can move into a new season.
I think you said the word honor that. I think honoring that is the key word. Honoring. I think it's related to dignity. I think honoring certain states, honoring you feeling angry about something that happened. Mostly it is sense of loss that causes us to fight with the reality, right? And I think honoring that, it's part of feel the dignity that is within you, and it's okay to be angry and recognize this feeling.
Yes.
And it's helping you to transition to another feeling.
Yes.
So transition is necessary for coming back to the surface of floating, right?
Yes.
Definitely you want the transition, you want smooth. That's how you can get through all the stages in one day.
Yes.
There's no need to mourn for 6 months, 2 years, 5 years, or days.
Yes.
You can actually do it as in the amount of time necessary for you to transition through all the stages. Yes.
That's beautiful. No, I love that. That's really great. Oh, wow. This is awesome. Okay, so I'm really curious to ask you this next question. Can you recall a time when you erupted into spontaneous laughter? Like you just couldn't control it. It just came up and out of you.
Oh, I was taking a shower. So basically, I was taking, I don't know why it is, but when I'm taking a shower, all these things like coming through my head, and I was so grateful for what's happening. I started laughing, and because you're already wet, right?
Right.
So I was laughing, and I know I was crying, but you couldn't tell. So I was like taking shower on my own, taking shower, and I was happy that I was just I was crying because of that joy that was overflowing. And recognizing what's been working in my life, what is there to appreciate in my life. And it's really funny because it didn't have to be something. For example, when we have, let's say it's beginning of the week, Monday, right? Monday, the state of the affairs are exactly the same as on Tuesday. But on Monday, I haven't realized that. On Tuesday, I'm crying in the shower. Okay, so it's that kind of realization. So things are going well, you don't pay attention to them. As the moment of reflection happens, and then you enter that state of gratitude. And if it is extreme and there's nothing that you will contradict to that state, you will not, oh, it's so nice that we have this. Yeah, but that was all. So you don't try to do this, right? You don't try to negate. You don't try to hold yourself down or back. Because you, I'm too happy now. I'm too happy now. No. I remember one of my family members years ago. She said, "Oh, I don't like to be on the top of happiness because I'm afraid that then the dip will be so, if you climb so high, then the dip will be so deep, but it doesn't help you to experience joy in the moment.
Right.
Something joyful happens and brings you joy. And in that very moment, you are telling yourself, no,
right,
let's not feel so much joy.
Yes.
Because then something bad happens if I feel so much joy. It's a belief system.
Yes. Absolutely.
Oh, I feel so much joy. Everything is so good. Oh, something's gonna break down. Disaster and la. It's a belief system. It's a belief system. So it's like trying to. I know that people might be doing that to soften the landing on the rocky ground, right? If something happens, but it's this belief system to actually think that if something is really good in my life, then soon something bad has to happen to bring balance to this. I don't think so.
No,
because
exactly.
the happiness is the angle of looking at things. That's why when I said on Monday, the state of affairs is exactly the same. All the things, it's status quo from day 1 and 2, let's say, Monday and Tuesday. But how I look at it, it's not the status quo. It's my different angle I take. So on Monday, I'm busy doing things. I'm being productive. I'm focusing on the details. I don't see the bigger picture. And then on Tuesday, I'm taking a shower and I'm thinking, oh, it's not like I'm taking a shower only on Tuesdays, right? That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that when I'm taking a shower, it's basically when I feel, I can take a step back and I can appreciate the good things. And this is where the overflow can happen. I pay attention to so many good things that it is just too much for me to hold within. And I laugh out loud. I cry. So moments happen. So my last time was in the shower. I don't know, maybe that was a week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, there's something about the water, just being in the shower, just relax, and things can just really come up. It's awesome.
One of your videos says that, take a nice hot bath. I'm thinking, I'll do that. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, it's magical. Magic happens.
Something in the water.
Yeah. There you go. Oh, that's great. So, okay, aside from the water, this may be one, it's certainly one for me, but what puts you in the flow state when you feel easy and you feel productive?
Set up the intention the night before, so that I'm not waking up in the state of, what am I supposed to do now?
Does that happen to you too? Oh my gosh.
For me, it's quite a brief moment because I'm an early starter. So I really like to wake up like early bird. I really like to wake up in the morning. If someone asks me, did you sleep in today? And I said, yeah, I woken up 7:20 a.m. right? So that's a sleeping in, and in my standards. But the intention that I set the night before, this is something that helps me to experience focus, and it gives me just enough structure to know that the purpose, I think just setting up the purpose, I think the intention is about being how do we say, if we have directionlessness, what do we have? Being having direction.
Yeah.
Versus being directionless. So I think it is very easy to get off track and do many things and get busy without the intention, because things just happen to engage us. It's being the inside of a house, outside of the house, things to do, people to talk to, sort out things, blah, blah. But I think in being intentional the night before, it's definitely what helps me to be productive and in my zone. And what I enjoy doing is having one thing in my mind, maximal 2 things that I would like to accomplish, do that a day.
Okay.
I feel like it's really worthwhile. It's like I feel progress in the areas of my life that really matter to me. And it's not to say that I'm doing only these 2 things and nothing else. It means that I'm doing lots of things and I'm responding to the needs of the day and society and work and stuff. But at the same time, because I have that intention, there's something very, very unique, like almost like freedom of choice. I choose where my focus goes.
Yes.
And I choose my focus tomorrow to go into creating a YouTube video, or into making the most of the time with my boyfriend, or making sure that I complete the course for my work, because it's like engineering related, right? So it's really, I have like, on one side, I do coaching, but at the same time, I came back to coaching after 3 years of break. So I had like professional life, full-time jobs and everything. Now I'm slowly coming back to coaching, but just enough so I can create content, because I want to scale it. I want to teach. I want to give on larger scale. One-to-one, it's a great inspiration for a content that many people can tap into versus working one-to-one. So that's where my focus is. That's why intention that will help me to go in that direction makes me joyful.
Yeah, I love that. I love that, what you're saying about intention, because that's where you intend, that helps, like you said, your focus go there, and that helps you really move into that and expand that and be present with that. So yeah, that's a great point. I love that. That's awesome. So how has feeling good helped you be more successful?
I feel like feeling good is the beginning of showing up. So when you are meeting people face to face, feeling good is the fundamental state that starts positive interactions. If I'm putting myself in a good, resourceful, happy state, positive one, then people who will be interacting with me are more inclined to step into the same state. And because of that, and it's a massive responsibility at the same time, because if you are not in that state, you are causing or making it easier for other people to step into that state in response to your state.
Yes.
What I will be calling someone trying to sort out the bills, whatever, and something's not working, and I'm upset or angry, and I have another person on the other side of the phone.
Yes.
Most likely she will pick it up, and she wouldn't feel good in that conversation.
Yes.
So she wouldn't be happy to serve me as the customer.
Yes.
And worse, this is not bad, I deserve that. If I make her feel bad and she doesn't treat me right, let's say I caused that. Sorry, I caused that. But of course, you didn't have to fall for it. But I think it's hard to resist. Like someone is angry, and then you automatically respond in similar vibe, right? So I wouldn't blame anybody to be angry towards me. However, it's bigger responsibility, because by putting someone in a negative state, they will be causing other people, putting them in that circumstances. So they will become the environment for other people to feel negative, right? So if I'm negative, I'm connecting someone and the person becomes negative as a result of that. Then they will interact with somebody else, and that person again starts being negative as the person who started the interaction. So that's not a nice wave. I don't want to create that experience for people. And what helps me to be successful in life is to manage my states and getting into positive, resourceful state. that is calm, that is directed towards the person. It is in my makeup, my psychological makeup, that's the place of service. So I love listening. I love understanding the person. I love them feeling good when they interact with me, because it is like a gift. I can bring you a healthy environment that you can feel comfortable to share good things about your life, good things about yourself, good ideas, things that bring you joy. And creating that space, it's working in exactly the same way as I described with the negative one, because the mechanics is exactly the same. Creating an environment that helps the person to be more likely as happy as me or as resourceful about themselves. So it might be that I'm bringing some good stories and they bring some good stories. I feel good about my job. They will bring story that they feel good about jobs. It's almost like mirroring, right? And the wave is in a different direction. This is a positive wave. It's a good ripple effect. I will bring it's not wave. I think ripple effect, but it's such ripple effect that when it starts from me, I think it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger the more people I'm interacting with. So I'm having one-to-one, and then this one person will have 2 more interactions or 4 more interactions. So it starts from me. That's why being happy, it's helping me. It's when I'm saying happy, it's like a short for joy. What I mean is positive, resourceful, beautiful state of being calm and being grateful and being recognizing the goodness about the person I'm talking to, regardless who they are, what they do, and where they're coming from. And then this brings a very good result in my life, because people remember the feeling and remember how they feel when they interacted with me. And so this brings business to me as well, because people know that they can open up, for example, in a way that they couldn't open up in other environments, because different people created different environments for them, maybe not as supportive, not as positive, right? So, or not so safe. So I really think that putting myself in a good state is the relationship success, and also at work, it makes me more resourceful because my focus works better, my concentration works better. I'm a better performer when I'm in resourceful state. I'm more inclined to find solutions to the situations. It's almost like I'm so much more resourceful. It's like magnifying glass for all my strengths. It's the mood that I am, the state that I am. If I put myself in that grateful, positive, vibrant, fresh state, joy, calm, it is ultimately helping in every part of life, not only professional performance, not only the relationships. I'm sure that this affects my health. Absolutely. And my body is healing in a different way, because we can have micro injuries from sports, we can have micro injuries from the emotional conversations that we have with people, situations that we have. So I call them micro injuries as well. And for me, it's definitely helping to heal. And the awareness that I have something to give, wow, I think this is something that encourages me to bring more and show up and be in the interaction, that positive influence on another person, create that good space. And this is what I call the responsibility. You know, I'm responsible from what comes out of me, and if what comes out of me is positive and supportive and kind, then that's what I want to bring. Like I want that responsibility for this. I want to see how people interact with it and what they will do with this.
Yeah, and I love what you said about the mirroring, because it's like attracts like, and that's such a great point. If you show up in a certain way, then that's what you're going to call forth from the other person. You set that container up, and it's a mirroring. It's a like attracts like. That's how energy works. So that's a great point. I love that. Yeah. Yeah, beautiful. That's beautiful. So do you have any daily routines or daily practices you do to help you connect with your joy?
I think I have a variety of things. I'm not sure. I don't think I have like one thing that I'm doing every single day. Of course, this will be flossing, but but with the joy, I think it's such a diversity, because what brings me joy today might be not as effective the next day. Depends what state I am. So how deep my cork bark is under the surface, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm very deep, I guess I will use different practices, different strategies, different techniques. And if I'm just slightly under the surface, then I'm going to use something else. So do I have any routines? I don't think so. I would have routines. I do have many ways to bring back the joy, to generate joy. And I put myself intentionally in situations, in circumstances that almost force me to generate joy. Think about it. Think about it. If someone tells you, it's someone close to you, let's say a family member, and you have a child, a 5-year-old or 7-year-old or 3-year-old to look after for 3 hours, right? Like that kind of situation. It's not something that happened to me. It's something that I just came up with because I know that this is one of these situations that almost forces you to be joyful.
Yeah.
The kid soaks it in. So the child will be absorbed in the state, and the child will be affected so much by how you feel, your tonality, your energy, your body gestures, the body language, everything. So it's all integrated. So if you are in a high mood, good mood, then you have great influence over that child. So this is one of the situations that you can put yourself to force those things. The same when I have a coach, right? I'm a coach, but I have a coach. So I definitely want to make the most out of the coaching experience. And I'm putting myself in this high resourceful, high state of creation, because that's what is igniting also my coach's inspiration and her ideas. So we are creating together something that I'm using in my practice, and that's why she's my coach. But it's so important to have many situations that put me in the state. Think about it. If I take my bike, I don't feel like cycling, let's say. I'm tired, I don't feel like cycling. But when I take the bicycle and I go out, I'm putting myself in the situation when I get a cycle, you know? And putting myself on the bike or making myself go and play golf and scheduling, oh, I'm gonna meet you, we're gonna play golf, you know, that things really help, like scheduling and nudging myself to start the activity that I know that brings joy, even if I don't feel like it. But if I'm telling myself, okay, I don't feel like it, but let's wiggle a bit. Let's go in the middle of the carpet and just like a few spins, few stretches, jump a few times, you know. So I can do those things. I can give myself a nudge. And I think I'm not the only person who can do these things. Like, we might not feel like something, but as we start doing it, the joy comes back.
Sometimes getting over that initial hump, and then once you're over that initial hump and you're on the downside and start doing it, it's like, oh yeah, now you get into it.
You know what really the practice that I do quite often that brings me joy, that is massively helpful. It's when I am in whatever state I am and I start writing. It's handwriting, so it might be journaling, right? So when I write down things, and no matter what state I start from, what I recognize is that as I write, I arrive to different states. So from state A, I go then to state B, C, and it becomes brighter and brighter. And it's almost like, you know, at the bark tree, cork bark tree. So basically for me, it feels like no matter how deep I am, might be 1 feet deep or 2 feet or 6 feet or 30, feet deep underwater, I still, with the writing, can help myself to float back to the most natural equanimous state of floating. Right? So this is what definitely works for me as the practice I would do. And if
Yeah.
someone else feels like it works for them, just notice how amazingly you transition from states. And I think it also helps to go through different stages, as we mentioned earlier on, right? Different stages of from anger and sadness, and to make sure that you recover to feeling neutral. And after feeling neutral, then you feel maybe hopeful, and then there's more positivity and you feel grateful, right? Appreciate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's great. Do you have any tips maybe to help others find their joy?
Yes, I do. Specifically, when I'm thinking about another very close person to me in my life, I recognize that for him, it was going back to what he used to love doing and he stopped. So if you have a hobby, if you have passion, especially passion, something that you love doing, for some people, it might be electronics. It might be putting things, electronic things apart and putting them back together.
Yeah.
It might be having the workshop, having the screwdrivers and all the items, like all the engineering stuff. If this is what you love doing and you haven't done it for a long while, go back to it. If you loved cooking, you've forgotten that you loved cooking. You've forgotten that you enjoy reading the labels in the stores and buying things and putting things together and spending time preparing. Go back to it. Go and pick up the ingredients you want. Buy that empty cookbook for all the recipes that you can write down and create. Take inspiration from the internet, watch some videos, go back. Any connection with your passion, any connection with what used to bring you joy, we recognize that it used to bring you joy. If this is not what you've been doing currently, go back to it, because joy is still there, but you are not there. But joy is. So if you want that joy, just go back to these activities, because joy is not lingering.
Right.
The thing about joy is it has to be generated. You cannot store it. It's not like, oh, I'm going to generate so much joy. I'm going to pack my pockets full, and then it's going to be lasting for the next 16 days. No.
Right. Right. Yes.
It has to be a continuous source of joy, and definitely doing something that you love, your passion, whatever that is. If this is fashion, if this is looking nice, if this is amending things, taking your old clothes and changing them into a new something. You know, you have an old top that you wanted to throw away. You know what? You can make a few cuts and you have a skirt, you know, things like that. So creativity, finding new use to old things, going to your kitchen and deciding, you know what, the shelves that were completely full, it brings me joy when I know what is where, and things that I have in the shelves are all fresh within the dates that they're supposed to be used, because people can be storing for years. They don't even know what they have on their shelves in the kitchen.
Right.
And they used to have so much joy when they were in the kitchen, in the house. And then they realized, oh, I don't like this kitchen, I don't like this house, because maybe there is too much clutter. And decluttering is what brings joy back, because it's nice to know where things are and what things are there. Yeah. So I would, my suggestion would be to these people, make a list, sit down, make a list of all the things that brought you joy in the past, that you know that were generating joy, because you were generating joy when you were engaging with those, with those activities.
Yes.
Bring all these activities back from your memory to the piece of paper. Good time to do that would be in the morning before life starts and get busy and you might get grumpy or something happens, right? When you start the day, it's zero. You start from zero, you just wake up and there is a piece of paper, and just bring those things back from your memory.
Yeah.
Another time when you definitely want to do this exercise for yourself would be when something is inducing joy. So it might be watching cartoons for you, or watching a very nice movie that brings the joy in you, or going through a beautiful memories from childhood that brings joy. So I would be, I think movies might be one of the best medium to put ourselves in a joyful, grateful, beautiful state, right?
Mhm.
And then doing this exercise
Mhm.
might help you to be even more resourceful. And then you will see, oh my God, the list is so full. There's so many. And it's funny because you might notice, oh my God, why am I not doing this thing?
I forgot about that one. Yeah, I gotta try it.
Yeah, I love doing that. Like, where's that cat? I love that cat. You know, can I have a cat again? Can I have a dog this time? Plants. Yeah, I like cactuses, right? For example.
Yes.
It's not about me, but it's about someone who recognizes what they love. And I just want them to recognize what they loved. I recognize what brought you joy. When you generated joy, bring those things back and ask yourself, can I do it now? Can I do it now? Can I do it today? Can I do it tomorrow? Can I plan for it? If I can plan for it, make it a project. Because in a project, every step you take, every action you take that gets you closer will bring you joy. Because you know, oh, I used to do hiking, right? Hiking. Oh, I'm not in the best condition for hiking anymore. Oh, I don't have shoes, la la la. But you want to hike, you want a nice trip, plan a trip.
There you go.
Then start walking to your park nearby. Start walking to the shop to collect your groceries. Start listening to the music and dance a bit in your living room. And over time, you just regain that nimbleness, that flexibility, that stuff comes back and it's building up. And you have that trip in your mind where you want to go, what you want to see. You need to be of certain, it has to be like physical readiness for that trip. So you want to be in a physical state that will enable you to have a great time when you hike. You don't want to, crawl on the top of the hill. You want to get there, right? And you want to get down. So make sure that you're ready. And I think you can make a project out of anything that you brought from the past. If you think it's too big to do it today, too big to do it tomorrow, just put it in the calendar and make yourself think and visualize how you are already there. And this already brings you joy. And because I believe people do know what brings them.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And they do know, and sometimes they just forgotten. And it's good to bring them back that memory of what it is. And the other thing, what other people might be doing is they know what brings them joy. They might remember what brings them joy, and they choose not to be joyful, right?
Right.
A completely different story. And then basically I will help them just to make sure that they honor every state that they're in, and they transition. So they don't hold themselves back in one place, but they transition from state to state, from less resourceful one to more resourceful and more resourceful and more resourceful one. That's the process.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. Wow. I can tell you're very passionate about the work that you do and helping people find their joy. And it's awesome. So where can people find you if they want to find out more about the work that you're doing?
And when they Google the Coaching Caddy, they will find my website. The Coaching Caddy is the whole brand. So I'm creating videos, I'm creating podcasts that are all about the growth, the resilience, the way how you can coach yourself. And funny enough, many coaches come to me, people who already did coaching. They know what coaching is about. And they're looking for a good coaching practitioner, someone who goes deep, someone who can do transformational work, not just finding strategies, I give you techniques, strategies, just do it. No, because people are not stupid. People know what to do, but they have reasons why not to do it. And I'm very happy to be in the place where the reasons are, because that's the beginning. That's the beginning. It's all about finding the right reason to drive us to do the things that we know we're supposed to be doing, or that bring us joy, that we want to be doing, but we don't know what holds us back. And I think it's amazing. So if they want to find me, just Google The Coaching Caddy. That's my website, thecoachingcaddy.com. Caddy is from golf, as you've mentioned at the beginning. It's inspired with golf. That brings me Zen state, and also it's practice for life.
I love that. That's so beautiful. Wow, Maggie, I have loved having this conversation with you today. Thank you so much for being
Pleasure,
here.
absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, I hope your work will bring more awareness to people about how they can find joy for themselves. And if I could support that, it was wonderful. And thank you so much for being the interviewer and asking the questions, because without your questions, I wouldn't create what you allowed me to create in this space. So thank you very much for the space you made for me. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, this has been beautiful and so much good stuff. Wow. Thank you so much. Mwah. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.